Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas, but Christmas is over. Fish and chip paper. So let's crack on with the Premier League. It's week 16. Week 15, well, if you're anything like me, tin helmet didn't protect me. They found a way to get beat, and those teams that you thought were going to win, they found a way to let the other team score late on. Liverpool, Spurs. I've got Martin and Matt with me, but first of all, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button and ring the bell. Also, put your thumbs up. I see that 3 people have put the thumbs down already. Obviously, I don't mind. It just shows that there's a bit of interaction there. Also, press a link in the description. Go over to the articles wrote by either Martin, Chan or Alex. There's parlays over there, and there's more meat on the bone for individual bets. Martin and Matt, I'll come to you first, Martin. Arsenal. We've been slagging them. We've been fading them. Wow. What a performance against Chelsea side. That, or you can say they bottled it, but their attitude definitely is questionable.
What a performance from Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was a bad performance from Chelsea. They weren't at the races. They looked lacklustre and lethargic. But Arsenal just came flying out of the traps in that game. A lot of energy. I think we look a lot better with Martinelli in the team, Saka, Smith Rowe, the young players that are hungry and want to fight for a place and actually want to be on the pitch rather than the overpaid, overperforming veterans that have been underperforming for several weeks. I think it might be difficult for the likes of Willian to get back in the team with the way Martinelli and Smith Rowe and Saka were playing and Tierney bombing down that wing. It was great. But yeah, it was a pretty good all-round couple of days for me. I think I went 3-2. Aston Villa won for me and Everton, which I was pleased to see. And I had both teams to score in the West Ham game yesterday. A couple of teams let me down. Chelsea let me down, but I'm not too upset about that. So hopefully we can start building up a bit of momentum now as we head into the new year.
Matt, what can we take from that Arsenal performance? Because they scored from a penalty, they scored from a free kick, and they scored from a cross shot.
It's tough. It's tough to say, really. And they've got a tricky match here against Brighton coming up, who have beaten them back-to-back times. So we're going to find out now, I think, really what Arsenal have in them. I do think it was nice to see some, new faces and refreshing legs there. That was a big positive. But as we come down this week's card, it's really, the bigger squads here for me are the teams I think that we should be betting on here. Short rest, for example, Wolves have 2 days of rest versus United that have 3 days. Just things like that to keep in mind. I think that that will be key this week.
Yeah, okay. Welcome, Nick Chung. He's subscribed and pressed the button. Thanks for that, Nick. And obviously, if you've got anything you want to ask us, then get yourself in the chat. And if you want to advise us on any of your selections or your fancies, again, in the chat. The chat is like one of the most informative parts of this show. Now, I've got a little bit of a problem with some of these. Rampage, Trap, Everton. It was 0-0. They scored with like 10 minutes to go. You was never comfortable with Everton, even though you come up smelling of roses again, Rampage. Now all I need is Rude Boy to turn up and give me some stick. Now, I'm going to fly over this game. It's not on the left-hand side of the screen, but I know that one of the boys has got a selection. So it's Palace versus Leicester, Martin. Just quickly fly over why and who you've gone for.
I'm going for Leicester in that game. I think it's just a good time to be betting against Crystal Palace. Really struggling defensively at the moment, and they've been totally overrun in their last 2 games, lacking confidence. Whereas Leicester have a slightly bigger squad. They never know when they're beaten. They never say die. Jamie Vardy's on fire. I think they can hit Crystal Palace on the break and just about edge victory. And you can get better than even money on it. I think it's plus 106 to plus 110, which is a really good price. I'm not going to be betting my mortgage on it, but I'm definitely going for Leicester.
Yeah, I can't trust Palace. I mean, how dismal have they been? They couldn't even get into the game like going down. So I went with, I left the game alone, and then at half time, they're 1-0 down. I'm thinking, okay, they've got to come back into this game. And they got beat 3-1. So effectively, they got beat by 10 men, 2-1 in the second half, Matt. Do you have any view on the Palace-Leicester game?
Really, it's the same as Martin's, to be honest. I think that it's a decent price to back Leicester here, and that's where I would go. I really think that it's a team that's, for me, Leicester have really looked solid over the last few weeks, and Palace have been the exact opposite. I would probably continue to ride that trend, and I think that Leicester here should be too much for Palace.
Yeah, it's almost like just as soon as you start fancying that Palace have got their act together, they look decent, they score goals, they get done 7-0 at home to Liverpool. Then they go and get beat by a 10-man Villa. You just don't know which Palace is going to turn up. For that reason, you've got to leave the game alone. Let's crack on, though, because Chelsea at -125. By the way, look at Chelsea. Apart from beating West Ham at home, they have had poor performances, square pegs in round holes, too many riches, Martin. Chelsea -125, draw +320, and Villa, form side in the Premier League, at +400.
Yeah, what about Aston Villa? 10 men, but still going on to beat Crystal Palace 3-0. When they were 1-0 up and then Tyrone Mings was sent off, I was getting really worried about my bet. But lo and behold, they went and scored twice more. And they could have had it 4 or 5. Ollie Watkins almost scored towards the end. They were just playing great. Bertrand Traore looks like a terrific player. Bet Chelsea probably wish they'd held on to him now. I think Barkley might struggle to get back into the team, but who knows? I think Aston Villa are looking very dangerous at the moment. Chelsea seem to be struggling without Ziyech. I think he's a big miss, lacking a bit of creativity. But I do think Frank Lampard will have read the riot act to Chelsea after that Arsenal defeat. He was very critical of them publicly in the post-match interview. And I think we'll see a much better performance from Chelsea this time around. But I don't really think they can keep a clean sheet against Aston Villa. So both teams to score for me.
Okay, both teams to score for Martin. Sadell said, I follow you on Twitter, Flash, but I didn't see your in plays. Just wait for Rampage to come and put a pin in my balloon. Yeah, I went with Palace double chance at plus money, thinking they've got to get back into the game with 10 men. And it killed me. Matt, Villa scoring goals. Confidence is high. But surely this Chelsea side have got to click.
It is a bounce back spot for Chelsea. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Flash, when I sent you my picks the other day, I really looked at Villa here at +1. But after the Mings injury, the red card, so he's suspended here, it's a big worry for me. And Chelsea normally are pretty strong at the bridge. As we know, they've beaten Villa the last 4 occasions. I see Chelsea bouncing back here. This is a really tricky one. I think that there's goals to be had here, but I do see Chelsea getting the better of them, and I'm going to pick on Villa one time here with no Mings, even though they're in form. It's a tricky one, but he's such a key defensive player for them. I mean, he's their best defender by a long shot for me. So Konsa will come back in. We'll see how he can do, but I expect a reaction here. It just, can Frank Lampard get the right team selection? That's really what I'll be paying attention to an hour before this match. It's really up to Frank Lampard to get this selection right, because, like you said, square pegs and round holes, Flash. He's putting players in incorrect positions where they really cannot flourish. So, but I've gone for Chelsea and the over 1.5 here at -110. I think that they should bounce back, and I just really want to bet against Villa with no Mings.
Okay, welcome Sam from Down Under. Cool Boy says, Martin, what about over 2.5 goals? How do you feel? Do you think there's 3 goals in this game?
Should be, yeah. Yeah, it should be. There's a slight worry that it would finish 1-1, but yeah, you would expect over 2.5 goals the way Chelsea have been defending lately. And as Matt said, there's that Tyrone Mings injury. Aston Villa are going to be susceptible at the back, but they've been attacking with real pace and purpose at the moment. So yeah, I would say that's pretty solid.
Astute Chaos says, wow, no Palace Leicester. Astute Chaos, wow, late to the party. It was the first game that we touched on. And Martin has gone with Leicester, and Matt leans Leicester as well. Me, I can't go near the game just because of Palace. They're so dog awful. I wouldn't go with Palace, but I just can't go near the game because they are involved. Let's move on now. Everton +700, draw +425. And Man City at -225. Man City, Matt, win 2-0. It was comfortable. Win 2-0 was the selection. But I tell you what, they could have had 5-6 goals. I fancy that they really put Everton to the sword and maybe just get themselves a couple up. But Man City don't seem to be like 4s and 5s anymore.
They haven't been in that 4s and 5s region really, but I expect that to turn here soon. I've gone with Man City here in the under 4.5. So I'm going to need them to still be as solid defensively as what they have been. And I need Ancelotti to at least be somewhat organized and keep City out. I just don't want this to be time and time every time City comes down, they score type of situation. But City have won. They've dominated Everton in all of their recent fixtures. And I still don't believe in Everton's defense. If you cannot get an accumulator like Man City in the under 4.5, I think Man City -1 is a fantastic look. That is where I would be going here. I think this is banker material. I think City roll Everton over today. I really do.
Kenny's got the right idea, Martin. He's going with Man City and under 4.5 goals at -125. Seems like that's probably the way to go. But again, maybe draw at the halftime, because I fancy both of these sides are going to be tiptoeing into the game and then only press the button when they need it.
Yeah, I mean, under 4.5 goals has come in each of the last 5 league games for these two teams here. You would expect it to be a relatively low-scoring affair. I thought the 2-0 scoreline at the weekend flattered Newcastle. Man City should have had about 5 goals in that game. Carl Darlow pulled off a couple of terrific saves. Bernardo Silva hit the post. They dominated possession. But Everton are a stronger team, obviously, than Newcastle. So I think they should keep Man City at bay for quite a while. The only worry is that at a time like this, at a time of the season when defenders' legs are getting tired, it could just turn into absolute carnage and be a 4-3 type game. Probably won't be, given the way that Man City have been playing in recent weeks. They've been a lot more solid, a lot tighter at the back. So I do like that bet. That would be how I would play it too if I was betting on this one.
Okay, EMJ says Leicester, question mark. If anyone else puts up Leicester Palace, can someone in the chat just explain to them that we started, 11 minutes ago, and it was the first game that we covered, and we covered it quickly just because it's not down the left-hand side. Dina says that Flash Premier League, it's been an absolute landmark. You know, yeah, 100% it has, but it's got to turn, and you know that come May we would have got our heads above the water. Yeah, I think Man City in under 4.5 is the way to go, just because Man City find a way, and also there's no Digne, there's no Allen. You don't know what the boys like Rodriguez and Richarlison are going to do. So for me, yeah, Man City at -125 to win and under 4.5 goals. I like this next game. Brighton +230, draw +250, Arsenal +135. I went for West Ham yesterday. Knew my fate after about 10 or 15 minutes, Martin, because West Ham, they're like a load of robots. They've not got the pace. Haller, for me, is not a Premier League striker, not mobile enough, doesn't do what he needs to do. But I quite like Arsenal here at +135.
I really like Arsenal at +135. It's a fantastic set of odds against the team that just beat Chelsea 3-1. Previous form would suggest that Arsenal are going to struggle. You know, they've been terrible this season. They lost home and away to Brighton last term. But I just feel like they should be picking up a bit of momentum now. The return to the team of Martinelli is huge. Saka's playing well. Tierney's playing well. I think that a lot of these youngsters have really got a point to prove. And you would expect Arsenal to come into the game with quite a lot of confidence. Brighton play that 3 at the back system, and they've got good defenders, but they can't seem to keep clean sheets for love nor money. They really, really struggle at the back. I don't think they're amazingly dynamic going forward. They're pretty good. I think they'll get on the score sheet in this one, but I would fancy Arsenal to get a couple of goals in this one. So Arsenal at +135, given their performance last time out and the fact that they've got a larger squad than Brighton, does look like a very attractive price. So, yeah, I'm going for the away win.
Yeah, Matthew M says in there, recency bias, it's a pass for me. I understand that totally. And the only reason I'm happy to go with Arsenal is because they're such a massive price at +135. They've got to step up. But I also like the energy with the young ones. And it is a case of put up or shut up. And maybe Arsenal will bite us again. But at the odds, at +135 against a struggling Brighton side who don't score loads of goals. I know they got 2, but one was a mistake. 8 yards out, just handed on a plate. And the other, it was just a ricochet that fell at his feet in the box. So for me, Brighton still really didn't carve up any real openings. Arsenal away at +135. Myself and Martin are both happy to go with it. Matt, what about you?
So I'm not gonna be on that same train. I would like to be. It's one of those where Brighton were so solid in the first half against West Ham. I watched the entire match, and they were great. And I think that Brighton, if they can keep that type of level that they did for 45 minutes there and carry that into 90 minutes, that's what they've struggled with all season. But I think that they're a tough team to beat on their day. I really do. And the fact that they did win both head-to-heads last year, they've drawn in 3 straight matches. That Solly Marsh was really quality for me at left back against West Ham. And I just think it's kind of one of those things where Arsenal step up in the big match against Chelsea. And like kind of you touched on earlier, Flash, some of the goals that were scored, that might not happen again. And I think it's kind of a letdown spot here. And I've gone with the biggest price here in the draw at plus 250.
Okay, Stephen's saying, can argue that Arsenal's 3 goals were gifts. I wouldn't say they were gifts, but I'd say that they were definitely fortunate, obviously, when you get 2 from set pieces and a cross goes in at the far post. But listen, after 10 minutes of the game, you could see that Arsenal were up for it. Chelsea didn't get out of their own half. And this is a Chelsea side on paper was playing, it was like men v boys, and yet they still came up trumps. And that may be what flicks the switch. There's too much value in Arsenal for me. Happy to be wrong. I won't be overly happy to be wrong, but it's a possibility. Now, next game, you'd think, bring a pillar. I'm going to come to you first, Matt. It's Burnley at plus 145. Might look massive, that. Draw plus 225. That might look massive. Don't think there's many people going to go with Sheffield United, though, at plus 250.
This is a tricky one here. I mean, it's 2 teams that, to me, they set up very similarly, and it's just one of those, the last 2 head-to-heads they've drawn. I went with a draw in Brighton and Arsenal. These matches are at the same exact time. I'm going with a draw here as well. I think that one of these 2 matches draw, and I find myself in some profit. That's kind of what my angle is here, because I just can't split these 2. If you had made me pick, I would probably go with Burnley at a draw, no bet. And that's because, Sheffield have been just so poor, and they just cannot seem Sheffield United,
Thank you.
It's just one of those for me. I believe that one of these 2 matches will draw, and I can find some profit there.
You got to leave it alone, haven't you, Martin?
I am leaving it alone, yeah. I quite like under 2.5 goals, but it's only 1.6.
Really? Well, like, what, minus 210 or something?
It's 1.6, so I guess that's minus 180 or something. Yeah, it's not enough to bet on. I agree. It could be a draw. They're 2 very similar teams, both quite solid, quite scrappy. Sheffield United only ever lose by a single goal when they do lose, it seems. I thought Burnley were really unlucky yesterday. They should have had a goal with Ashley Barnes. That was never a penalty when the keeper just took out Ben Mee. So they'll have a point to prove in this game. But yeah, I think Sheffield United are due to get a result sooner or later. So, I think these 2 might cancel each other out. Could be a draw, but I'm leaving it.
Okay, Stephen says, I'm fishing for a banker. Well, here it is. Martin, we're going to the South Coast. It's the Mighty Saints at plus 130. Draw plus 250. And West Ham's Team of Robots at plus 240. Look no further. It's my banker. I'm going with the Mighty Saints at a massive plus 130. I thought they was so unlucky against Fulham. Should have had a penalty without a shadow of a doubt. It's hit his arm. They've gone to VAR. They saw it hit his arm, and then they said no penalty. How?
Yeah, I thought they were really unlucky in that game too. Had a couple of goals ruled out, hit the woodwork. Ward-Prowse had a fantastic game. But what worries me about Southampton is the injuries. The whole spine of their team has just been ripped out. No Vestergaard, no Romeu, no Danny Ings. That's their 3 best players. That's the spine of their team. Redmond's out as well. He's a good creative talent. They do. For me, I fear they look a little bit lightweight without those 3. If it was a full strength Southampton team, I would be looking at them. I would be looking at both teams to score, which I normally go for when West Ham play. But I'm going to have to go against you, I'm afraid, Flash. I think West Ham could go down to the South Coast and get something out of this one. I'm going West Ham draw, double chance.
Yeah, it's safe to go against anything I say in the Premier League at the moment. Matt, the Mighty Saints.
This is Martin touches on it. I mean, there's some real injury concerns here. But this is my one issue with the Mighty Saints here, is that West Ham have dominated this fixture. Even when we're talking about a porous West Ham of last season, 2 seasons ago, they have won 5 in a row versus the Mighty Saints. It's a real concern for me here. I sent to you, Flash, both teams to score in this game. The more and more that I've dove into it, I think that West Ham plus a quarter of a goal. I think that these teams are even. I believe that this should be more closer to a pick 'em. West Ham for me are a decent live betting side, a team to get in play. When Moyes took out Mark Noble at halftime, because Noble was terrible against Brighton. I mean, he didn't even get a sniff of the ball. He didn't track anyone. He wasn't tackling. He was poor. He was just a player out on the pitch, really providing nothing. When they brought on Lanzini, Yarmolenko, they've got the likes of Ben Rama. This team can score goals. Antonio is getting closer and closer to full fitness. It's a decent team, so it's one of those that you want to check their lineups, I think. But man, when they throw out a decent attacking lineup, this team can score goals in bunches. I would be on West Ham here. I think West Ham plus a quarter of the goal is the way to go here.
I was an absolute classic in the chat, and I don't know if he's pulling my chain and trying to wind us all up, because we've got Archiando Raymond says Southampton are poor at set pieces. West Ham win. Fancy Southampton might be the best team in the Premier League at set pieces. James Ward-Prowse. Basically, I think it was Pep Guardiola, who knows a thing or two. I'm not saying he knows everything, but he knows a thing or two about players. And he said that James Ward-Prowse is the best set piece taker he's seen. Martin?
I think he means defending set pieces, Flash, not attacking set pieces.
Well, you have to put that. You can't go to court with half a story.
True.
Okay, let's move on then. Southampton. Banker. By the way, Stephen, you asked for a banker. I'll give it to you. And now you're saying, come on the irons. You're off your head, Stephen. Hope you had a nice Christmas, though. I like this game. West Brom, plus 270. Draw, plus 220. And Leeds at plus 105. Okay. Matt, what did we see from West Brom yesterday? 12 men behind the ball. Patient. Solid. 5 men right across. This is what Leicester did the year they won the Premier League. They sat in, they made sure they stayed in games. And I tell you what, the big thing for me was they all knew what they were doing. They were all disciplined and they got their reward. Don't get me wrong, there was a few chances that Liverpool missed along the way. But as soon as it's 1-0 with 10 minutes to go, they really pressed Liverpool. And listen, on another day, they might even have got a winner. Maybe not deserved, but they got their reward.
Yeah, I thought that West Brom plus 2.5 was a decent look in that game because of the low block. And I've seen Liverpool struggle. And I mentioned not having a player like Thiago Alcantara. That's the reason that they bought him. When he's not there, it's still a concern. It just is. Henderson doesn't, he can't create like that. Wijnaldum can't create like that. Oxlade-Chamberlain can't either. It's just it's up to Mane and really and Firmino. So you're asking your front players to do the creating, which is difficult when you have 11 men behind the ball. So this is such a contrast in styles match. My gosh, Leeds want to go all the way. West Brom want to sit back and hang in this game for as long as possible. Whoever style wins here will probably either cover the handicap or whatnot. I've left this one alone, but just to point out, both teams have scored actually in 4 of the last 5 matches for both of these squads. And the last time that they met in the championship, it finished 1-1. That's kind of where I see this one. I see West Brom, Big Sam. Look at what he's done already. Getting a point at Anfield was massive for this team. To be able to believe in what he's talking about, to play that organized defensive style, it's really, really interesting. But I've left this game. I really can't. I don't have a lot.
Martin, we've grown up with Big Sam. We know what he's all about. He stays in games. He gets them well organised. He gets them tough to beat. I thought West Brom draw no bet at plus 160 at home. Effectively, his first home game because he wouldn't have had enough time to work with the boys when they got done by Villa. And we know that Villa are going great guns. Are they going to be too strong and too streetwise for this Leeds side?
Could well be, Flash. Yeah, they looked a bit passive in the first half, I thought, against Liverpool. They went sort of 4-6-0, no one up front, just everyone behind the ball, like Matt said. And they just invited pressure on them. But I think Sam gave them a big half-time team talk, and they looked a lot more aggressive in the second half. They were pressing high up the pitch. They won the ball back. That's how they got their equaliser. And I think they deserved it in the end. Firmino almost won it for Liverpool late on. It was a good save from the keeper. But that result should give them a lot of belief. And I imagine that Bielsa is the sort of manager that Sam Allardyce absolutely hates. He used to love always trying to get one over on Arsene Wenger. He doesn't like sort of, I guess, managers coming from abroad that play an expansive style of football and try and play pretty patterns. He's all about don't like it up them, kicking the lumps out of the opposition and stuff. So I think he'll have West Brom fired up for this game. And yeah, I think they could get a result in it. I'm also unsure about how it could go because I do think Leeds have got a better team, better squad, better players, better team. For that reason, I think I have to pass it.
Okay, yeah. Apologies to Stephen. There must be another Stephen in there because obviously I gave you the banker, Stephen, when you went fishing. And another Stephen said, come on the irons, and I thought it was you. So massive apologies. What's Bargav saying? No, they're not winning or drawing, Flash. Please don't do it. Okay, well, I'm going with West Brom. Draw no bet at plus 160. You know I love my plus prices. Couldn't get a plus price on this one, though. Man United, minus 185. Draw plus 325. And Wolves at plus 500. Squad's going to be tested. As Matt said earlier, Wolves, 2 days rest. Man United, 3 days rest. But Man United squad is far, far greater. Martin.
Yeah, I do agree that at this time of season, the extra day of rest can really, really help. Wolves do have a pretty good record against Man United, though, taking points off them a couple of games recently. I think they're really missing Raul Jimenez. If they'd had him up front yesterday, I think they could have beaten Tottenham. That header that Silva missed late on was a gilt-edged chance. But yeah, I don't really like betting against Wolves. And at minus 185, I don't really want to bet on Man United with the defensive issues they've got. Hopefully they'll get rid of the experiment that saw them play Lindelof at right back. That didn't really work. If they go for Twanzebe, they might be able to keep things a bit more tight at the back. Just always a little bit worried with Man United's defence at the moment. Maybe looking at a goal scorer bet, Rashford, Martial, something, Bernardo Silva to do something. Sorry, Bruno Fernandes to do something. But I'm passing.
Okay, what about Man United and over 1.5, Matt? Because that's at minus 110. I see Man United winning the game. I certainly don't see them winning it 1-0.
Yep, that is what I've gone for here. It's Man United. I mean, getting the extra day, like you guys touched on and I mentioned earlier, is just it's so big here. And I still there's something about this Wolves side right now that just isn't clicking for me. I know that they're picking up points, but they're picking up points. You know, I had Spurs yesterday, and that was a tough one. I mean, it's like they score in the first minute. They can't do anything else in 89 minutes. It's just, I think some other teams with some more attacking flair would be able to really put Wolves to the sword. And that right there is where I believe United have that. I think United, what you're noticing here in the last few weeks is that Solskjaer's putting out better lineups. They're playing better. Fernandes looks like the best number 10 in the world right now. Him and De Bruyne, that they look just those two right now just are, the conductors really of their teams. And I think that Martial and Rashford, those guys are going to just feast here. I really do. I see Wolves having some problems. I've backed Wolves in this spot before against United. Like last season, I liked them against United. The teams were even, and but this is a different time, I think, for both these squads, and some missing pieces here and there from Wolves. Manchester United do need to be more solid here defensively. I think that this game falls in between 1.5 and 4.5. So either way you want to go, I think should be fine.
Yeah, I worry about the 4.5 because Man United have that capability of letting in a couple but still winning 3-2, 4-2. Listen, I don't see it being a dullard game. Someone mentioned in the chat about ball watching. We've mentioned about Man United's defence. They mark space. We've said this. But there was also an element of luck to the Leicester equaliser because it was going 4 yards wide until it hits the lad on the knee. Yeah, I'd look at the Wolves attacking prowess, and I think they're not there. They're not there. So I've got to go with Man United to win and over 1.5 at -110. I looked into this game, next one, and thought, how do I get them on my side? Couldn't do it. Spurs -175, draw +350, Fulham +600, Matt. Problem I've got with Spurs are, yeah, they're great when they're going for the game, but then they sit back, invite pressure, and sometimes when you put your hand in that honey in the hive, you're going to get stung. And now a few weeks on the trot, they've been stung.
100%. And I think that that's something that we have talked about all season, really, with them in terms of their midfield, too, of Sissoko and Højbjerg.
Let them have it. Let them have it. They won't create nothing.
They're just boring types of players that just want to do a job for Mourinho. But, I think that they're missing, the likes of Christian Eriksen, even though that it looks like he's going to be moving on soon from Inter. It's just he was their creator. He was their Fernandes and their De Bruyne. He was the guy that could pick the passes and really help them score more than one goal, like what they did against Palace, and then they invited pressure, and then like what they did against Wolves, and then they invited pressure. Fulham have been a little bit better here. I would be looking more towards goal-scoring markets here if I had to play this one. I would be looking at Kane, or I would be looking at Son anytime. That would be the only way that I would want to look here in this match, and other than that, it's a pass.
Okay, first of all, yeah, okay, Matt, I understand totally that Spurs have let so many people down. This should be a winnable spot for them. Remember, this is a Fulham side that went to the Walker Stadium 2 weeks ago and won 2-0, kept a clean sheet and scored twice. Will they be able to do it again? I doubt it. Sarad saying, I can't get my head around these American odds. Well, you don't need to. There's a link across in the bottom of the video. Press that and it's an odds converter. Or just say to me, put in the chat what you don't understand, and I'll help you out. No problem at all. It's quite simple. Even money is +100, and then it goes up. So 5 to 4, +125, or 4 to 5, -125. Okay? So just listen, I'll hold your hand. I was the same. Next game, last game. Newcastle, +1,000. Draw, +530. Liverpool, -300. Not got a selection on this game, Martin. No, in fact, I'm counting to Matt because it's your team. But I see Liverpool team total over 1.5.
He doesn't want to talk to me. It's all right.
No, I do. I just wanted to get a Liverpool fan's view on it, first of all. But I see him scoring twice.
Well, what was, Martin, what are your thoughts on Spurs Fulham just before I go into this one?
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for asking me.
Oh, did I not ask you about Spurs?
Yeah, thanks. No. Did I
not ask you about Spurs?
No.
Sorry, Martin, honestly, I must have, because you know what happened? I got distracted with Sarad. Come on in. Give me Spurs Fulham. Pass, is it?
No, I'm going for Spurs to win and over 1.5 goals. I think they have been a little bit reeling from that 3-3 draw with West Ham, and they went ultra defensive in reaction to it. And they ground out quite a few good results. They beat Arsenal, got that draw with Chelsea, beat Man City, and it was really working for them. But in recent weeks, it's stopped working for them, and there's no need to be sitting back against some of these teams. They sat back against Crystal Palace, and it didn't work. They sat back last time out, didn't really work. I think they need to take the handbrake off a bit here and get Kane and Son going. They missed Lo Celso. He's the creative player that can do all that. But still, they should have enough about them to open up this Fulham defence for me. Mourinho said, I didn't tell them to play like that yesterday. I told them to go for it, and they didn't. So he's gonna have a right go at them before this game, and I think they can win this by 2-0, 3-0, something like that.
Okay, Fulham got good pace on the break, good athletes at set pieces. Yeah, so maybe even an under. Maybe Spurs an under 3.5 or something like that. Last game, I'll come to you, Matt. But Martin, I won't forget you, I promise. It's Newcastle +1,000, draw +530, and Liverpool -300.
Tricky game. I mean, this is where, there's not a ton of value on Liverpool matches, really. We talked about City against Newcastle. They probably should have had about 4 or 5. It looks like this might be the time where Thiago Alcantara comes back into the team. He's ready to go. It's either this match or it's the next match, and that will be a huge boost for this midfield. Yeah, he's a top 5 midfielder in the world today, probably on his day. So it's a really tough one because as well, Matip will miss this match most likely. He picked up another injury. He just cannot stay fit. So it's going to be Fabinho paired with Nathan Phillips or Reece Williams. That's somewhat dodgy a bit. That's kind of making me look towards like a both teams to score. I think that Newcastle might be able to actually get on the score sheet. If West Brom could score against Liverpool, I think that Newcastle can score on Liverpool as well. Right when Matip got injured, that's kind of when the match flipped on its head. So I think that maybe both teams to score and Liverpool to win, like a plus 175, I think that would be where you would find the value on Liverpool. This kind of feels like a 3-1 to me, really, on Liverpool Newcastle. That's where I would go. 3-1 exacta.
Okay, what an exacta. Well, Martin, Liverpool to win, team total over 1.5. They score a minimum of 2. I don't know who's going to get rich on that. I see Liverpool winning this. I see Liverpool having better away from home. You would have just put 7 past a Newcastle-like team in Palace. You've got to go with Liverpool, but how do you get the value?
Yes, it's a pretty low set of odds, isn't it, on Liverpool, minus 300. If anyone doesn't know how to read the odds, if it starts with a plus, that tells you the profit that you make from a $100 bet. So you bet 100, you win 1,000 on Newcastle. If it starts with a minus, it tells you how much you have to bet to make.
How much you're going to lose?
You have to bet. So you bet 300, you win $100. So it's 1-3 basically, and Newcastle are 10-1. I think, I didn't go with it in my official plays, but I think Liverpool are going to win. I think they'll be over 2.5 goals in the game. So, Liverpool and over 2.5 to me. Last time they dropped points was that 1-1 draw against Fulham. They bounced back by beating Spurs 2-1 and then they thrashed Crystal Palace 7-0. That doesn't bode well for a struggling Newcastle side who are without their 2 best players due to the long-term effects of COVID, Lascelles and St. Maximin. We know that Liverpool have got an injury crisis. That's what makes this game really difficult from a betting perspective because they haven't got any centre-backs. Joel Matip limped off. So like Matt said, it's probably going to be Fabinho and Reece Williams at the back. That means that Newcastle might get on the score sheet. But then when Liverpool do have all their defenders out, they seem to have this habit of grinding out 1-0 wins, which is pretty strange. But I do think we're going to see over 2.5 goals. I can see Liverpool winning 3-0 or 2-1 or something like that.
Okay, and Sadak's just saying he wants your opinion because Vardy's not playing. Obviously, we're doing this and recording this just before the Palace-Leicester game. Vardy's not playing. Does that affect your bet, Martin?
Yeah, it kind of does. Is Iheanacho up front? That is a bit of a worry. If he's on the bench, he can come off the bench and maybe make something happen in the second half. But that would probably dissuade me a little bit from Leicester, to be honest.
He is on the bench. Tielemans is on the bench. Ndidi's on the bench. Wow.
Maybe who's playing up front? Iheanacho.
Iheanacho. Yep. Barnes, Perez.
Don't like it that much. No,
I don't like it either.
Maybe bet in play on that. See how Leicester look in the first 10 minutes, and if they look like they got the bit between their teeth, I would still go for them.
I just can't go anywhere near it because Palace is involved. Gavin wants to talk about Havertz. For me, and this is what I would do and I would try because it's not working with him being in a congested midfield. I'd play him as a false number 9. I would play him up front, let him be the focal point, the point of the Christmas tree, move around. He's got good movement. And he would leave space for Werner to cut in and Pulisic to cut in. And obviously you've got Ziyech to come back as well. And I think that the movement of that would work wonders. But you need boys that are going to pass the ball forward, can't they? Honestly, he's a stopper, okay? But for me, I would try Havertz as the focal point of my attack right up top and let him move around and create space for others.
Do you think he's a bit like Dele Alli that can't seem to get in the Spurs team because they don't need that number 10?
No, I think he's better than Dele Alli.
But that sort of position.
Dele Alli? Who remembers Dele Alli? Put a thing in the chat there. By the way, 113 of you thumbs up already. Over 287 of you watching. So just please put your thumbs up, show your appreciation towards Matt and Martin. And obviously me or I getting up so early to come and do this show for you, because I only do it for you. Selections, please, Fab. Let's see where Flash is throwing his money away this week. Martin's picks, Leicester plus 106, or no Vardy. Chelsea, both teams to score, minus 160. Arsenal plus 138. The accountant got the value. West Ham double chance, minus 130, loss. Tottenham and over 1.5 at minus 114. Matt's picks. Cool, Matt, you've been up. How long did it take to do them?
It's not too long, but I just wanted to touch on one thing. I want to go with West Ham double chance over the both teams.
What, you want to go
score.
for another one? That's 7.
No, I'm switching it out. I don't like the Southampton both teams to score as much. I like West Ham a little bit more.
How have you not just gone Southampton to win at plus 130? I just cannot believe what you've seen. Neither of you in West Ham. They are absolutely dreadful. Anyway, Matt's picks. Man City and to win and under 4.5 goals at minus 118. Yeah, I can see that happening. Chelsea to win and over 1.5 at minus 110. Arsenal draw at plus 250. Sheffield United draw at plus 220. Great value here. West Ham double chance at minus 130. That should read. Nothing to do with Zook or I. Matt's just changed it. And Man United to win and over 1.5 at minus 110. Okay, here we go. Man United to win and over 1.5 at minus 110. Southampton, the Mighty Saints, plus 130. And that's my banker. Arsenal, plus 135, down to value alone. And West Brom, draw no bet, at plus 175. Now, if you're new to the chat, this is where I do a 2-team parlay. We need the 2-team parlay. The records will be back probably in about a week or so when we get rid of this midweek and 3 games a week, because obviously I can't be getting the graphics boys to do it at 2 o'clock in the morning because the game's finished the night before.
Ash, can we just quickly, can we just say they're asking when La Liga's on? That's going to be at 4:30 UK time, I guess.
Yeah, 11:30 Eastern.
30 Eastern, yeah.
Yeah, 11:30 Eastern. And it'll be Ewan from La Liga Lowdown, and we're Will Martin out again. And by the way, they've been having a good time of it. 2-team parlay. Matt, who are you putting forward?
I'm going to put in. I kind of like a Manchester double, to be honest, but I'll go with Man City. I think that they win. If you want to spice it up, Man City minus 1.
Okay. What did you not go for Man City in under 4.5?
Yeah, but I mean,
okay.
some of the people won't be able to get that. I mean, there's not everyone can get those accumulators, so that's kind of where I would just maybe go with Man City minus 1. But
shop around,
like
go over to the SBR odds and have a good look. Go to every single book. I've said this: NFL, MLB. Join all the books. Join them all, and then obviously, if you've got selections, don't rush. Have a little look and see where the value is. Yeah. Man City in under 4.5 is the first leg. Martin.
Yeah, Sportsbook Review has several A+ rated bookmakers, sports books, including Bovada, and Bovada does that bet of under 4.5 goals. So that's what you'll find me going for on a lot of my tips. Spurs, I like Spurs. Spurs to beat Fulham.
What, an over 1.5?
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it to you. No one can believe I'm doing that, but listen. If there's one of us 3, it's not been firing on all cylinders in the Premier League, then it's you, Matt. All right? Yeah, I would point the finger at myself, but listen, it's easier to blame others. We've all been in workplaces where you know you're right, but the boss blames you. Okay, this is one of them instances. Now, listen, you both do an absolutely great job. And brilliant, everyone in the chat. Nearly 300 of you live watching, 137 thumbs up. Take care. We've got La Liga coming up at 11:30 Eastern time. Don't forget, tomorrow, it's Serie A and Bundesliga. And on Wednesday, we're back with another Premier League show. And are we doing La Liga again on Wednesday as well, Martin?
We sure are, yeah.
Wow. So that's going to be the best part of 6 shows in 3 days. So you're definitely going to get your soccer/football fix. Everyone else, Bobby Hooper, Flash, you are the real squirrel. Don't be silly. Gracias. Can't believe Flash went for Spurs and over 1.5. Sometimes you need to buck the trend. We'll see you for La Liga. Take care, and may all your bets be winners. Ciao.